It is time for the one and only, the premier, the only official podcast of ProRodeo. Your Chute Bosses are ready, so let's give it a go and talk some rodeo.
Hello everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Chute Bosses. It's Tanner Barth and Tracy Rink, and we got a special guest for the first half of the show. We're going to sit down with PRCA media reporter Alex. Welcome to the show, man. First time.
Yeah, it's good to be on here. I've been sitting in the background of the Chute Bosses and catching jokes from Tracy during the podcast for a few weeks, but it's good to be in front of the camera.
Yeah, we're going to sit down and talk with
now
Alex.
Now you're a distraction in front of me instead of to the right side of me.
There you go. There you go. Keep me engaged.
That's Alex Dodd for you, though.
Yeah, we've got to keep Tracy awake during the show. But we're going to sit down and talk with Alex. He went out and did a feature story with Taylor, our videographer, and you guys did a bunch of cool stuff, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's start off the show, as we always do, guys, with our ProRodeo props. And this one, Tracy, you know, this is something we've always talked about, and Alex is starting to kind of see it firsthand, is how much volunteers play into what rodeo does. You know, a majority of these rodeos are ran by volunteers, you know, all the way from the top at the president sometimes, all the way down to the person serving hamburgers at the concession stand. So they deserve a big props for what they do.
Yeah, it's just pure passion for rodeo. I mean, they're not making money out of it, and most of them donate money to something, whether it's military, whether it's some organization in the community. That's why rodeos are such big deals for communities. They're almost like giant fundraisers, especially in smaller towns. But, I mean, they can't, even the Houstons and the San Antonios, I mean, none of them can function. You can imagine a payroll if you were payrolling those people. I mean, there's so many people and so many volunteers. So they do it just out of the love for rodeo. I mean, it's like putting an event for your kids or a baseball thing magnified. So it's wonderful to see.
Yeah, well, you mentioned, I think there was like 700-plus volunteers at Rodeo Houston,
yeah.
Something like that. And you probably got to see that kind of firsthand this past weekend.
Yeah, I mean, every rodeo that we went to, especially the small ones, it's like all volunteers that are putting on everything, and they really roll out the welcome mat for the contestants and the fans and try to make a good experience for the whole community. So, yeah, we'd be remiss not to give props to those guys because, you know, without the volunteers, the PRCA wouldn't be what PRCA is.
Yeah, and especially headed into the summer run because we know it gets crazy busy. You know, a lot of people have a chance to come into town and they're staying for a couple of days or they're hitting the road and heading out. So volunteers definitely can't go unnoticed, that's for sure. Let's jump into our short round segment, and this is a big one. The PRCA announced yesterday a contract extension with LVE and Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, Las Vegas events, that is. Rodeo staying in Vegas till 2035.
Yeah, we said the PRCA and LVE released that last year during the NFR that it was going to stay till 2035. No one knew what the money was going to be, and now from 2024 to 2035, it's $250 million, meaning with a B. So I mean, there's so much money involved. I mean, it's crazy considering when I started in 2013. I mean, the purses were okay, but I mean, it was $6.2 million, like up until 2013 at the NFR. Now it's going to pay, I think at the end of that deal, it's $27 million. What the NFR will pay and the rounds will pay. I mean, it's just incredible. And I mean, that'll put more emphasis on guys wanting to make the NFR. Because if you make the NFR with that kind of money, I mean, it makes your season now. But that makes your livelihood. Like you can do, that's life-changing money now that they have available at the NFR.
Well, and it's one of those things where, you know, now you won't be surprised if we start seeing $600,000, $700,000 world champions.
Oh,
you know, they're going to end up winning that much money in a season. Obviously, Stetson's already, you know, done it in some events, but we've got even bareback riders like Keenan closing in on $500,000. So,
well, imagine like if Kai Hamilton won what he did last year and won the whole round and won what $100,000.
He won $595,000.
Yeah, and so imagine and he skipped a couple rounds. Yeah. So imagine, I mean, it's out there now, and that's good to see. I mean, those guys deserve it. I mean, the rich will probably get richer, the talented guys, but I mean, it's like any sport. The best guys, if you can get there, you have a chance. That pot of gold's there.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that from an outside? You know, you've never been to a Wrangler National Finals rodeo. What do you kind of see from that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at other professional sports and how much these top athletes are making, that, you know, it's a good thing that rodeo is keeping up and capitalizing on the cultural moment to try to get these guys paid. So, I mean, they're the ones that are putting butts in seats. They're the ones that are getting eyes on the on the TV to watch the event, so they deserve a bigger slice of the pie.
And it's definitely,
especially for the timed event guys. I mean, those are the guys with the horses and the haulers. I mean, and I'm not taking anything from rough stock guys, but rough stock guys can split travel or fly, and they just get on at rodeos. And I mean, it's incredibly difficult. Nothing's easy about what they do, but they don't have to pay for horses and hay and
they
travel.
They might have more medical bills.
Yeah, true. But I'm just saying, it's crazy to imagine the expense of going down the road with your diesel and $800 to fill up your rig just for a full tank. And I mean, so that's when you like to see this money. I mean, and it's not going to be spread out to everybody necessarily, but they are helping the circuits more. I mean, it's an encompassing contract. They're helping just like before. So it's a great deal. And I mean, you've been to Vegas several times now, and Vegas, it's a great home for the NFR for multiple reasons.
And, a lot of people thought maybe we move it to Texas. That was an option because they had a lot of success there in 2020. But, the Cowboys that we've all talked to love Vegas. It's a thing where it's a trip. They get to go out there. It's an experience. The fans love going out there for 3 or 4 days or 10 if they stay the whole time, So
it's just a destination. It's cool. Everybody wants to go to Vegas once in their life. It seems like anyway, for fun, and it's a destination. I mean, the first thing they say when they start every performance is Cowboy Town in Vegas, and it is. I mean, for 2 weeks essentially, it's a cowboy town in Las Vegas.
Well, and as much as we want to say, this is, I guess, one of our final thoughts on this. As much as it helps the PRCA and it helps the Cowboys, we have to turn this on the other side. It helps Las Vegas a ton.
Yeah.
If Las Vegas was to lose the NFR, that's a big chunk of change out of their money. So, this is something that in turn helps that Las Vegas community too.
Yeah, especially in the winter months. I mean, because Vegas has people that go there when the weather's in the summer because they have holidays or they're off or vacation. But the winter's, downtime in Vegas, comparatively speaking. But this is essentially a month-long event with travel and people going there.
They bring in a lot of
money.
mean,
and so, it's essential to the economic impact of Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and during that holiday time of the year too, it's like not very many people
right before Christmas,
Christmas, right? So it's a big end of the year push for them to really kickstart the next year.
Right, into January.
So much money being thrown around, that's for sure. Speaking of guys that perform well in Las Vegas, and one we hope that they can get back there, but some unfortunate news, 5-time PRCA World Champion Tyler Waguespack going to be out. Tracy suffered a torn bicep at the Sisters Rodeo. I had a chance to sit down and talk with Wags, and he said, it was kind of a freak deal. He just came out of the chutes, and he felt like somebody hit him in the crease of the arm with a baseball, is what he said. And ultimately, he walks out of the arena the next day, flies to Salt Lake City, gets an MRI. They confirm it. He's under the knife that next day, and now he's kind of on the road to recovery. And we know that, your arm's going to be key in steer wrestling. So now we have to wait to see if Wags can make it back to wrap up the season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he can get healthy enough. Do you want to make that crazy push, or do you just want to take the year off and get it completely healthy? I mean, he's such a competitor, and he's one of the best ever. I imagine he'll come back, even if it's just to get some action back in later in the season. But it's unfortunate. I mean, but it's part of the sport. I mean, how many times have we seen the best of the best? And they ultimately, when you have long careers, I mean, you've been to 9 straight NFRs, relatively healthy pretty much for the whole time, and he won 5 of them, 5 world championships. So at some point the odds, they turn against you a little bit, and you might get hurt like you did.
Well, and that's something, that he mentioned that, it's just one of those things that happens in rodeo.
Yeah.
And my favorite quote of his at the end of that article was just him stating the fact, I don't think the Thomas and Mack has seen the last of me, which I agree with him. He's a Hall of Famer. He's probably a top 5 steer wrestler of all time. So I imagine we'll see Wags back. The only thing that makes me wonder if does he try to make that push? It'll all depend on what his doctors ultimately end up saying. He has to go back and get it checked.
And it's kind of like the risk. It's kind of like Logan Haley.
But right now he's top 15 in the world. So that's the only reason I can see him maybe trying to come back is because he's not. He hasn't won just a couple $1,000s. He's $30,000+.
I just don't know if the money's available on the back end when he gets back in steer wrestling to make that play. If you're a bull rider, you could get lucky and win a rodeo and win all the ground money. Not lucky, but you have a chance to win a lot of money even at smaller rodeos. Steer wrestling, I mean, the steer wrestler, the number, and part of the reason probably is the number, 15 guy qualified with like 85,000 last year. Yeah. So he's not out of the realm. I just don't know if he'd have to go crazy and win a bunch of rodeos. And do you think you're healthy enough to do that? It's one thing, you could go to the rodeos. He'll have it on his schedule because he won't go, but can you stay healthy enough?
It's a tough injury to rehab too.
Yeah, torn bicep.
It's not as cut and dry as a bum hamstring or something like that. It's not easy to rehab.
And he said, but this was the best case scenario. They told him it wasn't a tear inside of it was a detachment. So it's either, I don't know what he said, but it was either coming from the top of the shoulder or from the elbow.
Yeah,
detach it on one side. So I mean, it's still, regardless, you don't want to have a torn bicep.
Yeah.
Especially in steer wrestling,
yeah,
where you're
especially
having to jump off a horse and grab onto a pair of horns and toss them. But no, so we'll have to wait and see. Wags comes back, but definitely a hit to win in that sixth world championship here in 2024. So
I'm sure he'll be back one way or another.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we talked about it off the top. We're going to sit down and talk with 2023 PRCA World Champion bareback rider Keenan Hayes. Tracy and I caught up with him in Las Vegas, so that'll be our feature interview on the back. But now let's turn all of our spotlight over here to Mr. Alex Dodd to talk about his trip. Alex, first of all, I guess, we kind of introduced it a little bit, but explain to people what you had the chance to do this past weekend with Taylor Brown.
Yeah, so Taylor Brown and I were following JC Yaquo and Buddy Hawkins, a team roping duo that's based in Stephenville, Texas. And we followed them to 4 rodeos in 3 days in 3 states.
Jeez.
So we put, I think, 1,380 miles on the rental car and went over the Rockies twice. And it was a great time just to see what the life of a cowboy is like in the summer. Mm-hmm. Buddy talked about how, from October 1st to June 1st, they do about 15 to 20,000 miles of travel. But then from June 1st to October 1st, they're doing 30 or 40 or sometimes more than that.
Yeah, that's
in the rig. So we're following them to these rodeos and seeing, this isn't even Cowboy Christmas yet.
Right.
Imagine what it's going to be like on the 4th of July. But just to get a sneak peek of what life on the road is like for these guys.
What was something that stood out to you, I guess? I know that we don't want to give away your full story. That'll be coming, I believe, in the digital PSN that comes out Friday?
Yep. Yeah,
okay,
it'll be ready. It'll be ready.
What stood out to you?
There were a lot of things. I think probably the biggest thing that stood out to me was, following Buddy. Buddy's traveling with his family. He's got 2 kids under 2. He's got a 2-year-old and a 10-month-old. And his wife's traveling with him too. And the way that he's able to prioritize family while he's making these trips was really interesting and compelling to me. And then JC too, being the young guy on the team, and he kind of just lets Buddy plan everything out and said, yeah, Buddy picks the rodeos because he knows the good ones, and I just
he's on the buddy system.
Yep. Yeah, he's on the buddy system. There you go. It's just kind of cool to see the dynamic of them as a team, and this is their first year as partners, so seeing them kind of figure some things out on the road was cool too.
And that's the best part is guys like JC can get it. You tap into a veteran guy that knows where they're going. I mean, that's one of the huge keys to guys making the NFR, because a lot of these guys are great ropers, but they don't understand how to enter correctly to be the most successful they can be. And then you get with guys like Buddy that have been there, done that, won the average, understand exactly where do you want to go, what small rodeos you want to hit, and that's what they do. And I mean, I'm sure JC's loving it because he's got a roadmap to hopefully he's never been to the NFR.
I was going to say a roadmap there. Top 2 in the world right now, so
right.
I'd say it's worked out pretty well.
Sitting at number 2 today, and who knows what's going to happen before the podcast is out. But yeah, they were a cool group to follow. It was a lot of driving.
Yeah.
And that's just a microcosm of what those guys do.
Oh yeah. I'm definitely not cut out for cowboy life. Not because of the competition, which I couldn't compete in, but the travel alone. It's a lot.
Before we let you go, we got to know who's the best car karaoke, you or Taylor? Who's got the best pipes on them?
Well, I don't know. I was probably doing more singing in the car. I think Taylor was more focused on getting some artsy shots out the window with the camera, or taking pictures with his phone to draw or whatever. But I'm definitely the karaoke master in the car.
So you were sleeping like John Candy, and the diesel was telling you, you're going the wrong way, and he's the one telling you, how does he know which way you're going?
It definitely felt a little bit like planes, trains, and automobiles at times, but it was a blast.
Yeah, you guys made it happen. So you can look forward to that story. It'll be in the Friday, June 21st digital Pro Rodeo Sports News online at ProRodeo.com. So make sure you check it out. Alex, we appreciate it, man, jumping on here with us for the first time.
Yeah, it's good to be on here. And then, obviously Taylor's going to have a pretty awesome video recap of the trip that'll be coming out shortly as well.
Awesome. We look forward to it. That's going to lead us right into our 8 questions segment. And, this is a young guy, Tracy. We've had a chance to be up at the College National Circuit, or the College National Finals Rodeo up in Gillette. And Jade has done a ton of work for us up there.
Jade Williams, yeah.
Yeah. And now we're going to have a chance to sit down with Zach Dallas. And this is a young kid that's making some waves right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got NFR written all over him if he can stay healthy. I mean, he's winning big rodeos. He's doing great things, and he's getting hot at the right time. I mean, all the rodeos are going to pile up. Can he keep stacking up wins? I mean, we always look for that guy that we don't know about that steps into the limelight.
Mm-hmm.
He's been one of them. Weston Timberland's
kind of reminds
been one
me
of
of Ryder Sanford.
Right, like
his rookie year that ended up. Yeah.
All of a sudden, guys start winning, and you start like, who is this guy? And he's become that guy.
Yeah, and he's definitely had a lot of success. And we mentioned that he's leading the Resistol Rookie of the Year race in the saddle bronc. He's 14th in the world standing, so he's right there in the hunt. And it'll be a name to follow. And I'm curious how he answered some of these questions.
Yeah, so am I. It's good just to get to know guys, and then they're in their environment at college national finals, rodeo, something they're comfortable doing. So I'm glad we were able to catch up with him.
Let's do it. Here's your 8-question segment with Zach Dallas.
What's your favorite movie?
Lonesome Dove.
And favorite restaurant?
El Pinto in Albuquerque.
If you could name a bronc, what would it be?
Noel Johnson.
What's your favorite bronc you've ridden at the PRCA?
Flying Karma, Calgary.
And favorite hobby outside of rodeo?
Hunting.
Can you describe saddle bronc riding in one word?
Poetry.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Strawberry.
And last question, what's the best hype song before a rodeo?
Best hype song? Best hype song.
Or favorite artist to listen to right now?
Turnpike Troubadours.
Farm life means always hoping for the best, but planning for uncertainty. You have to be ready for the next everything. The next dawn, the next season, the next harvest, the next technology, the next challenge, and the next generation. No matter what comes your way, we can help keep you ready for the next.
Welcome back into the Chute Bosses podcast. One segment away from sitting down with 2023 World Champion Keenan Hayes. It was good to have Alex on the show here, Tracy, and just kind of get an insight on what that trip was like and the story that him and Taylor are putting together.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the stuff we wanted to do. We hired videographers here at the PRCA. We had to do projects like this. And Alex is obviously, he's got TV and radio experience, and I'm sure he'll be joining us as a guest several times. So I'm excited, and it'll be a good thing to do because we've never, since I've been here, we've never done anything like what they were able to do.
Yep, so we appreciate him sitting down. Let's jump into our second segment, Tracy. We're going to kick things off with our ProRodeo Hall of Fame Spotlight, and this is a good one here, a man that did it in the arena. He did it outside the arena. We're going to go with 2006 inductee Bob A. Robinson. Joined the PRCA back in 1958, and that was when he started things as a contestant, steer wrestler, and then also did a little bit of saddle bronc riding. And then in 1960, he went on, wins his lone PRCA World Championship in the bulldogging, and finished second. I can't remember if it was to Harry Tompkins or who it was, but he finished second in the all-around that year as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's out, and he won bull ridings at California Rodeo Salinas and Red Bluff. I mean, he was a true all-around cowboy, and then he went into the pro official in 1980. Then he was director of rodeo administration at the PRCA in 1982 and spent several years doing that. And people like that, and based on what we read, he was one of the people that helped get Las Vegas the NFR in 1985. So, I mean, guys like that are pioneers in the rodeo world, because if guys like that weren't doing what they were doing, we wouldn't be where we are today announcing 11-year extension contracts in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that you just mentioned a little bit, Tracy, is I love that the ProRodeo Hall of Fame, obviously we honor the people that have had so much success in the arena, that have won 4, 5, 6 world titles. But, this is a guy that won one, but the ProRodeo Hall of Fame realizes that his impact is much more than one world title. It was him stepping into the PRCA as one of our first officials, and then going on to become director of rodeo admin, being a key figure that pushed the NFR to Las Vegas. So I just think it's cool that they honor people that have an impact both inside and outside the arena.
Yeah, I mean, they're notables in that sense, but he's a world champion,
Exactly.
and guys like that. The PRCA wouldn't be where it is today without guys doing like him doing those things. I mean, you can win world championships, and that's great, and we have outstanding athletes, but it's not all about winning championships. Someone helps to help the association run day to day and help things move forward, and the progress that we made in moving to Vegas. I mean, no one thought they'd ever move the NFR to Vegas. Are you crazy? And I mean, because Vegas is Vegas, and then it's changed the landscape of the PRCA up until this week when we're making announcements about the contracts.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So that's a great Hall of Fame spotlight there on Bob A. Robinson. That's going to move us on as we continue to mention talking about Las Vegas and the NFR. Let's go to our historic NFR moment of the week, and we're going to get Andrew back there behind the scenes to get it locked and loaded here for you, if you can watch it here behind us. This is a good one. Took place just a year ago. We go back to round 7, Haven Medjed. Just check out what he did here in round number 7 of the NFR.
Told you so. Told you so.
How about 6.4 seconds, Tracy, and it breaks a long-standing National Finals Rodeo record.
I mean, because I think Trevor and Cody Ole had the record 6.5.
Yep. You see him. And all the jubilation you see at Haven, pumped up, Tracy.
Everything has to go right to get a time that fast. I mean, it's a fast arena, don't get me wrong, but 6.4 is flying.
Yeah, and if we talk about everything has to go right, that record almost lasted about
10 minutes, 5 minutes?
I don't even know if I'd go that far.
Probably
Shad
2 minutes.
Mayfield, next guy up to go, and check out this. Boom, he stops the clock in 6.1 seconds, Tracy. He would have been the next guy in line right after Haven. They're going to cut to Haven, I believe, here shortly, and you can kind of see the disappointment, but Shad's calf gets up.
Yeah, and the thing that was crazy is it looked like he tied him well.
Yeah. Crazy, huh?
Yeah, so 6 seconds had to go by, and the calf got up, and we couldn't believe it in the press room. I remember sitting there with Haven, and then all of a sudden Shad did it, and
yeah, no, it's crazy.
Look how fast their hands are, though. That's what amazes me, and it looks like he had him.
Yeah, and then the calf kind of got up on those front feet a little bit and popped himself up and got right out. And he had to be close to the 6 second
It had
mark.
to be like, 4, maybe 4.5 seconds? It had to be super close when he got up because he wasn't up, right away.
And credit to those pro officials. That's a tough call to make if you got a world record on the line. And
6.1 is... because you're getting in some rare territory. I mean, 6.4 is flying. I saw Trevor's time at 6.5. I was covering tie-down roping back then, and 6.5 was flying. I mean, records are going to be broken because guys are more athletic. Horses may be better, but I mean, you just have to have
about as fast as you can possibly
But I mean,
go.
6.1. I mean, I don't know. I mean, in 6.4. I mean, obviously you can go faster than 6.4. Shad proved it moments later after Haven, but like 6.1, I don't know how you go faster than that. I mean, because I remember 5 asking
5.9 without a barrier was one of the records.
Right,
without a barrier.
Without a barrier, yes. With the barrier, I don't know how you go faster than 6 seconds. I just don't know because I mean, it's just so many things have to go right to be that fast.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So here's your historic NFR moment of the week, Andrew. You got something for us?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, when I first saw this, I was pretty green. It's my first NFR, pretty much my first rodeo I ever got to saw live. And I didn't realize how quick these runs were. Like, the amount of skill and talent these guys have in their hands is ridiculous. And I just want to throw it back to y'all and ask y'all, has there ever been a time in recent memory where something like this has happened at the NFR before, where 2 people have gone back-to-back trying to break the same record?
Wasn't Fred and Cody in one of those
Yeah,
battles
Fred
at some
and
point?
Cody were. I know Trevor, I think, was involved with Cody and sometimes like 6.5, around those same times. I mean, there's obviously rough stock guys that break records in rounds, and then guys might beat them. It's just crazy to me in tie-down roping when you're that fast. I mean, steer wrestling, you've seen guys go 3.2 all the time or 3.3, but the record there is 3.0. I mean, there's just times that, I mean, everything happens fast in Las Vegas, but the tie-down roping is, and we've seen the team roping world records. I mean, you saw it last year, a couple years ago with Junior. It's just crazy how fast it is. So I mean, I guess you usually don't see it in the same NFR necessarily. You usually see one guy go to crazy time like Haven did, and then everybody else is 6.6.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Andrew, to answer your question a little bit. The biggest difference with that is guys are trying to do that all the time.
Right.
What that actually happens is hardly ever. Guys, I'm sure if a guy came out and was 6'6" or 6'5", the next guy wants to be 6'3" or 6'2", but to see it actually put on display and for those times to be clocked, but Shad gets up, obviously his calf, is pretty rare in the sport of rodeo, but definitely a memory to remember for sure, and I'm sure a lot of those fans will.
And I don't know that there's anybody else. I mean, Haven's run was spectacular. I don't know if there's anybody else behind him that could go that fast.
I think Riley could. I think any of those guys could.
You think 6'1"?
Yeah,
I mean,
it just
and
takes
the only
the
reason
right
I say
set.
6'1" is because Chute is so athletic. I think 6'4".
And he had 2 bad hips in that video.
Yeah, no. And it would tell you, it's just, to be that fast, you have to be unbelievably athletic and get off your horse. That's why those guys are jumping off their horse like riders are throwing. So, yeah, I mean, Riley could do it. I mean, I guess any of those guys in the top 15 with the right circumstances, everything has to come together as one.
No doubt.
I was going to say, too, it has to do a lot with confidence, I feel like, as well, because Haven was throwing that rope halfway out the box. Like, he knew that he was going to catch that calf. So I feel like a lot of it's confidence as well. It's like, I'm just going to go out there and do this and go out there and do it.
Well, and Haven was shooting for broke at that point.
Right.
You know, Riley Webb had a $150,000 lead, so he knew I'm going to have to win rounds. I'm going to have to win the average. Only chance to win a gold buckle, and he had one of the best NFRs we've ever seen. He set the NFR average tie-down roping record and, just came up short. But Riley had such a good regular season and didn't make a mistake in Las Vegas to allow Haven to inch the gap. So.
And that speaks a lot about Riley because he was putting the pressure on him. And a lot of guys get that pressure, and all of a sudden, a couple misses, you're out of the average, and you're not getting checks. It was an unbelievable tie-down roping last year.
It was a ton of fun to watch it all shake out. Let's go on to our viewer question segment here on the Chute Bosses. This one comes from Savannah on Facebook. What is the rope that saddle bronc riders use? So this is what we in Pro Rodeo known as a bronc rein, Tracy. Mm-hmm. You know, it's kind of a braided rope. Usually it's around that 6 foot mark, and it's right there next to the horse. And cowboys kind of use this as their, I don't even know, almost their rigging. You would say, like what bareback riders use. And it's different on any animal, you know. That's one thing about the sport of rodeos. Guys are so willing to share information with each other. Right. They say, you know, this one needs 3.5 fingers on the bronc rein. This one needs something different, you know, and that's what kind of used to gauge the animal, how it bucks, how it moves, you know, different things.
And the best guys know how to use it well.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if you don't, you're not going to get the 89, 90-point scores. I mean, you figure it out. The Wright family's obviously masters in doing it. They're pretty much
I'm pretty sure Cody has a book that has about 300 bronc rein measurements in it.
A case study of how to do bronc rein. But that's why good guys are great. They figure it out, and they know exactly what they need to do to have successful rides on certain horses.
Yeah, so hopefully that answers your question a little bit. And as we said, that's a specific position. They kind of set it. The cowboys know exactly where to hold it, you know, how much to give the horse, because some horses like to throw their head back and forth. Some don't like to move their head at all. So you have to try and make it work. So that's a good question there on the bronc reins.
And Chute Boss Nation did have another question for me. Okay. I know you try to avoid me.
I can't stand
this
question.
But Chute Boss Nation asked me, did I ever wrestle in college? And I did wrestle. I was in intramural college wrestling. That's what I did. It was more WWE style. I was Papa Smurf.
You still got that mask or what?
I turned people blue as Papa Smurf.
All right, I'm about done with that. And one guy that is about done with his skit, I guess you could say. He's been trying to figure it out. He's trying to get his life back on track, and that's Buck.
Buck means well. I appreciate Buck, but Buck's overcome the hard times.
Aren't you guys related?
I think Buck's a distant cousin. I
think he's the better looking one.
You know what?
One, but.
Yeah, that's an Buck has more hair.
Yeah.
Although it looks like he sleeps in a car every night, but that's okay. Buck tries. He's a survivor. He's a winner.
I thought you were going to break into song for that. I'm a survivor. Let's go down to Buck. He's got your Pro Rodeo word of the day.
I'm Buck, official correspondent of the Chute Bosses, the official podcast of the PRCA. My word for the day is poser. Seems like there's some clown around here that hosts the Chute Bosses that thinks he's me. There ain't no other Buck. I'm Buck. Like Miley Cyrus says, no one can love me as much as me. Buck, the one and only, don't forget it.
Cowboying is in our blood. Cowboying is in our bruises. It's in our rain-soaked jackets. In our calloused hands, tested by barbed wire and rope. Our mud-stained boots to the crown of our Resistol hat. You live out west for even the shortest time, and there's one thing you learn. You can't pretend out here. Resistol. We live it every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back into the Chute Bosses podcast, the official podcast of Pro Rodeo. Tanner Barr, Tracy Rink, another special guest joining us here in Las Vegas at the 2023 PRCA World Champion Media Day, none other than bareback rider Keenan Hayes. Keenan, what's it been like to be in Las Vegas, man, and get a chance to take this in for the first time?
Yeah, it's a great experience coming down here. They flew us in and been putting us up like we're kings. It's great.
Do you feel like a king? Has it set in for you that you're a world champion at such a young age?
Here and there's times going back home and everybody coming and congratulating you. It's kind of hard to get away from, but no, it's an awesome feeling coming here and getting all this and having media. It's cool.
Yeah.
But,
so you had a record-setting permit, time on your permit, and sometimes that translates to guys, sometimes it doesn't for different reasons. And not only it translated for you, you won almost $500,000, broke every record, won the average, won the NFR, and won the world championship. I shouldn't say surprised. Did you believe that could be the result your rookie year?
Yeah, that was my end goal forever. I always wanted to get the Rookie of the Year, and I knew they didn't win it or never had it won on a rookie year. So I heard that a long time ago watching the NFR, and so that kind of was one of my main goals growing up. Just in high school and everything, I found out that, and that's kind of something I always strive for. And so it went better than I ever planned it would. That's for sure. But I always had that as a goal, so I always believe I could have got it done for sure.
Keenan, what were you thinking? Where was your mind at, like mindset-wise? Because first time coming into Las Vegas, you got to get on 10 of the baddest buckers, in the planet.
Right.
How were you able to kind of stay focused, and what was your mentality like coming into Vegas? Because there can be a lot of distractions here in Vegas as well.
Oh, I just embraced the distractions, really. Yeah. I had a blast out here. There's a lot going on with what went on when we were getting ready, and ended up postponing it a day and everything. And so there's Vegas being wild, how it always is. You just kind of got to roll with the punches, and that's a lot how rodeo is. You get turned out, get a horse that you don't want to get on, or go somewhere you don't necessarily feel like going, or making a drive that is way longer than it should be.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of stuff that you don't like doing. But so I just, this is a bunch of stuff, and you're always busy, but you just got to embrace it and have a blast with whatever you're doing. So. No, I had a blast out all 10 days that we were riding. We were out here for wow, a lot of talking today.
A couple more days after
a few more days than 10, but yeah, no, we had a blast the whole time. It was a great experience.
Yeah.
How electric is that in the Thomas and Mack? I know you guys, you're the first event, so there's things that you can't do that the other events get to do, but in grand entry and things like that. But could you feel the electricity? I mean, they always talk about when you're in Thomas and Mack, you don't know what it feels like until you've been there.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, that's 100% true. I've never been so worked up getting on a bareback horse, and I like to get amped up before I get on. So, I didn't need my pre-workout that day. That first round, my motor was running, and I was lucky enough to be able to be last out, I believe, every night, and which is a cool experience. I got to watch pretty much everything, the grand entry and everything else, and take it kind of easy. And so it was a great experience doing it the way I did, and with everything when they play that Viva Las Vegas. Yeah. And then everybody's hooping and hollering and going out there.
You're about trying to calm yourself.
Yeah, you still got to wait 14 more head before you get on. Oh man, it was cool.
Yeah. What do you say to the fans out there that Keenan Hayes is a wild child? I don't believe that for a second.
They probably know me then. If they say that, they know me.
I love it.
So you got some wrestler in you, right? We talked
to
you
you
about
a lot of
wrestling.
bareback riders, yeah.
So how much does the wrestling mentality help you as a bareback rider?
Wrestling mentality, just growing up around wrestling, and the whole atmosphere around the wrestling community is second to none, really. Like the mentality you have to have behind that, and to be a successful wrestler is just crazy. With the work ethic and just desiring it enough, and I feel like there's so many rodeo guys that wrestled, it just kind of is proven at this point. There's the correlations right there. Like if you want to be a successful rodeo contestant in any event, you need that mentality, and the wrestling's something that will instill it in you, and it will at a very early age. And it's, even if you don't rodeo, I feel like it's a great something to learn in all aspects. You can take it to anything you work on. So
well, you guys could almost have an all-American wrestling tournament just based on the bareback riding field.
We might have to look into that, honestly.
See if we can get a mat out here at the Thomas and Mack.
Shoot, It might be a good one, good tournament. You know?
Do the battle royale and do like WWE stuff? Like
we'd have to do some
no
sort
holds
of.
barred?
I feel like we'd have to do like a round robin style tournament. You know,
Yeah.
everybody get a match. Whoever comes out with the most wins.
There you go. Hey, I'm not against it. Keenan, let's talk about, you know, you've had so much success at a young age, you know. How do you see yourself continuing to get better? Because we know that the first World Championship is great, but they say the hardest one is the next one. How do you see yourself trying to continue to get better and grow, man?
It's a fight every day. I've been chasing number one all season. There's been guys that have been riding outstanding all year long, and Darby was good enough to me this weekend to just nudge me in front again, and just the desire to be number one and the competitiveness in me, I feel like helps me so much. Because I can't stand seeing somebody ahead of me. I don't like it. I don't love it at all. So, I'm just out there to go and get it every day. I like to have fun with everything I do and don't take everything too serious. And of course, get stuff done back home. I like to enjoy my time. And pretty much everything I do in my life, I have fun doing. So just being able to do what I've loved doing ever since I was a kid and just go at it every day with my good buddies. It's something cool to do, for sure.
Is there one rodeo? I mean, obviously you won the average already. You won a world title. You're super young. There's so much still in front of you. Is there one rodeo that you'd love to check off your bucket list before you call it good?
I've been to so many. I'd have to look. I've made pretty much every one I've bit, all the big ones. There's a lot in Canada I haven't quite got up to. I've always wanted to go to Pinoca in Calgary. I haven't got across the border, so we're gonna make it up there one of these years. But down here, I love that Northwest run. I love everything up in that country. I love coming back home to Colorado. There's so many cool places in this state, or in this United States. It's amazing to be able to go and travel them pretty well day in and day out.
Your sponsor, I see.
Yes, one of the most beautiful places in the world, right there.
That is beautiful.
Grew up at it. I love it. I love Colorado and Steamboat Springs and Hayden, Colorado's my hometown. It's an awesome place to grow up.
We're all Colorado guys, so we agree with you, man.
Oh, I love it.
We're not arguing.
Yes, sir.
Keenan, for your career headed forward, as we look in 2024, obviously you're chasing another world championship. But where can you see this career going? You know, your dream is always to be a world champion. But what's your ultimate goal in the end of all this thing?
Just have a blast doing it. Hopefully make enough and have enough fun doing it. I can, when I'm done doing it, I can live easy, and I'll always work. That's kind of just something I've always had instilled in me. I get bored way too easy. I gotta be doing something. So when I get done here, I'll have hopefully a trucking company back home. I got a bunch of trucks I'm working on and stuff like that. Kind of, my dad already has one going on, and we're just kind of keep that going. And other than that, maybe get some bucking horses. I don't know if I'd want to put on rodeos. That's a lot of work, but I'd be thinking about selling them to some of these guys, that's for sure.
Well, hopefully we got at least like 10, 15 more years at Keenan Hayes.
Yeah.
Putting a hand in the rigging.
Be here for a little while, I think.
Yeah.
So the life you live, and you talked about it, you guys you've lived like rock stars at times. I mean, you travel all over the country. What's that lifestyle like? I mean, the average person doesn't live like that, and or try to live like that, or can make a living at it.
Right. Oh, rock stars have a driver usually.
Keenan Hayes might have one. You keep a couple more $500,000 years.
You're gonna have to pay a driver.
Thing is, I just can't bring myself to pay somebody to do something I can do.
Yeah. No doubt,
I'm stingy. Give me all that money. It's awesome going out and we training for the PGA Tour. Actually, I've been golfing dang near every chance I can.
What's your handicap?
I'm just starting to break 90s.
Wow,
that's not bad though.
That's pretty solid.
But it's every now and again. I can break 100 usually.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
That was what I was going to ask you. The next thing is,
I ain't great.
Yeah, you guys spend so much time. You mentioned already the golfing. What else do you enjoy to do, man? When you get a second, just to be like, all right, we're not going to think about rodeo for the rest of the day. Let's go out with the boys and do something besides golf.
A lot of golf. Just because there's a course everywhere at all these rodeos. We just hang out a lot on the road. Pretty much golfing. That's about it. Unless we got somewhere to go and hang out, and then we'll go and go to their ranch or go to their place, help out with them, and just pretty much anything to kill time we'll do. You know, we don't get to do too much tourist stuff, but then again, we kind of like to stay out of the crowds. But up in the mountains, fishing, hunting, stuff like that while we're rodeoing, that's one thing we like to go and do. And a lot of these guys like to do the cold plunges. I live in Colorado. I'm cold all the time.
I don't need to go jump it. You can go jump in the creek at home.
Exactly. That's how remind me of swimming back home. Yeah.
That's
so
great.
The golf part, is it just the tranquility of doing it? Just because you guys live 8 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
Playing around the golf is 4.5 hours.
Right. I've heard a lot of that. Like, it's kind of different spectrums of sports for sure. I think it's just everybody can go and have a good time driving around on golf carts, you know, and drink some beers, hit some golf balls, and go and traipse across the woods trying to find it, you know.
Yeah.
And usually that's where there are. So, but it's I think that, and just there's a course everywhere, and there's some dang nice courses in it. Like, it's some cool country. Like, we went and played Mount Shasta with it was me. Straubs Jones, Straubs and Colton and Clayton Bigelow, and we went and played Mount Shasta, and that was a great time.
Yeah.
We were up that day in Redding, but that was a sweet course. Oh man.
Are you wearing the cowboy hat out there? Or are you still in jeans? Or are you
No,
going?
I'm all dad golfer. I have the freaking khaki shorts with the belt on, with the pulled up socks, because I hate ankle socks.
Country club guy? Keenan Hayes is the country
club golfer, right?
Dang right. I got to get a tan somehow. I don't wear shorts when I golf.
They got to let you in the door, right? You
Yes.
got to play the part?
Yeah, exactly. That was funny. We played a course in Houston. They made a Cooper Cook buy a shirt, and then we get out there in the course boss or whatever they call it. He was like, "Yeah, that was just a prank. It was the funniest thing. Didn't make him put it on or nothing."
Just told him, "Sir, you got to have something else."
The guy inside had a different opinion, but it was funny.
That's great. That's great. Well, Keenan, we really appreciate you taking a little time to talk to us, man. It's great to see you here in Las Vegas, and hopefully a year from today, maybe we'll be back out here celebrating another world title.
Yes, sir. I hope so.
No doubt about it.
Appreciate it, Keenan.
Yeah, there
Thank
it
you,
is.
guys.
Keenan Hayes joins us here on the Chute Bosses. Another great episode. We'll have a few more coming your way with the world champs here in Las Vegas. Until then, keep on rodeo.
Addicted to danger, ruled by passion and pride. To pain and fear is no stranger, but his lust needs to be satisfied. Hooked on an 8-second ride.